Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the 11th Hour. If you don't know who I am AJ Gels. This is the 11th Hour Gaming Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to bring to light a very special charity I found recently. The charity of Bay... Fuck, I can't do this. Can't do this with a straight face. What's up, everybody? I'm AJ Gels. This is the 11th Hour Gaming Channel. Thank you for tuning in. I was about to do a plug for an old Colin Mockery joke on whose line is it anyways? I think it was like a scene from a hat. It was like useless charities. It was like bathe the whales. I'm a dumbass. It's been a while since I brought this mug on camera. So what's up, everybody? If you don't know what this show is, this is my weekly news wrap up. I gather stories from Game Informer. I follow a bunch on Twitter. I have the IGN app. All these places. Sorry. I get a bunch of news stories throughout the week. I write down my notes, and I read the news story, some top stories that I found interesting, talk about them. If you ever think that I'm not covering something that you thought should have been covered, please correct me down the description below, or down in the comments. What am I thinking? Feel free. And also, if you notice, it's Saturday at noon. So sorry about this. I posted a video, I think, late Thursday night. I had some stuff going on Friday that I couldn't get the episode done and up on time. It was just a big logistical thing. So this week it's on this Saturday. Next week it will be back on Friday at the usual time, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Please remember that. Other than that, guys, my Facebook, Twitter, my website down in the description below. And actually, I also said it in this video, the Facebook on the videos is still not right. I need to go do a copy on my new Facebook page. The link and all that. I'm using this one more than I was the previous page, so that'll change. But right now, it's not necessarily correct. If you want to find me, go to Facebook, search AJ Gels. It uses the banner for the channel. All that. It's GOELZ, if you wouldn't know how to spell it. But yeah, that's most of the housekeeping for you guys. But like I said, you find Facebook, Twitter, website down in the description. Go ahead and leave me a comment. Happy to hear from you guys. Other than that, you like the video, you want to help support the channel, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. All that. Let's get into the news, guys. And I forget to say this every time. There will be a list of the topics that I cover and timestamped, all that down in the description. I promise you, this video, I will work on it. It'll probably be up later tonight on Saturday. Sorry, I know the past, I think, 5-6 episodes haven't had the list of events. I plan on going back and doing that. I'm sorry, my schedule's been crazy, school and whatnot. So I'll shut the hell up on this stuff. Let's go into the news. According to Eurogamer, you may have to wait until early to mid-May for your Oculus Rift headset. Originally, those waiting were told April 12th. Didn't happen. This is apparently... I'm trying to remember what the original... I think the original release was in March or something like that. But the article also continues to read that the head of HTC Vive, the other PC headset, and kind of said on Twitter that all April pre-orders will be delivered in April. That article was by Matt Porter over at IGN. In a statement to TechCrunch, that's an interesting name for a thing. The reason that Oculus is delayed, this is an announcement from Oculus, is due to an unexpected component shortage. I got this from a separate article on IGN by Kyrie Leary, I believe is how it's pronounced. More VR news. Apparently it is possible to play Oculus exclusives on the HTC Vive. This is weird. Oculus commented to IGN, and I quote, "This is a hack and we don't condone it. Users should expect that hacked games won't work indefinitely, as regular software updates to games, apps, and our platform are likely to break hacked software." So who knows? If they don't fix that and people continue to be able to play these exclusive, Oculus might be in trouble, if you ask me. Though you ask me, I say most VR is in trouble, but that's my opinion. Matt Porter at IGN. Microsoft has apparently has 2 new filings with the FCC. You know, the FCC controls like all electronic communication, a lot of stuff. You know, like TV, a lot of stuff here in the U.S. But all we know are there are 2 new model numbers. We don't know what these model numbers are or what they're for. All we know is that they're Xbox. Exclusively, we know they're Xbox. At least as what I read, they are Xbox. So this might be 2 new pieces of Xbox tech. It may be Xbox lied to us that they are working on a more advanced model. I'm sorry. More advanced model for the Xbox One. Who the hell knows? All we know is that there are 2 new filings with the FCC. Article by Vicky Blake at IGN. Originally, I believe it was sometime last month, Xbox announced that they are ready, that, they're very open for cross-network play with PlayStation. If you don't know what cross-network play is, it's basically when, you're people on Xbox, say we're all playing, I'm playing Call of Duty on my Xbox, you're playing Call of Duty on your PS4, we can play against each other, even though we have the 2 different consoles. Now, Sony's been a little cagey on this, kind of going, that they're maybe open to the idea, but not working at whatever. But apparently, Xbox is already ready for cross-network play. Let me see here. ID at Xbox, European boss. I'm really hoping I'm gonna pronounce this right. Agostino Simonetta, something like that. Told a quote to Game Informer, and I quote, "Absolutely, we're ready." I got this from an article by Alex Osborne over at IGN. That's interesting. I'm really interested to see what cross network play would. Sorry, my nose. I'm really interested to see what cross network play would do for the Xbox. Maybe it wouldn't do anything for the Xbox because it's cross. I don't know. All we know is that the Xbox is still getting beat by the PlayStation, as by this next story by Seth G. Macy at IGN, after the NPD has released their new figures that the PS4 is the top-selling console in March. PlayStation 4 continues to dominate. I don't know the official total number sold. I don't think PlayStation 4 is getting close to the top 10 of all time, but it's selling really well. Best of luck both to Microsoft and Sony on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and all that. I have both. I'm not on a team in this war, but I don't know. I think Sony's got if Sony can continue this trend, I think they're both going to do very well, but I think Sony's going to clearly the winner this generation. Let's see here. According to GameStop COO, that's Chief Operating Officer, Tony Bartel, he believes that there are new hardware launches, and I quote, that seem imminent. What the hell does that mean? This article, I got this from an article by Joe Scrabbles at IGN. This is interesting because, of course, GameStop would be very excited about this. A new console launch. They get the box at the store, all that. Although this doesn't really make sense with the announcements that we've been hearing. It does and it doesn't. Because we know PlayStation 4.5 is coming, or whatever it's going to be called. I believe that's coming out later this year. If I remember, I talked about this a week or 2 ago. And we know the NX is coming up. But, if that's what he's talking about, well, yeah, they seem imminent because they are imminent. But Microsoft has officially debunked the rumor that there's a higher powered Xbox in the works. So I have no idea what he's talking about. This is a fun one. I'm very excited for this. Red Dead Redemption 2. That's right, I said 2. This map has apparently been leaked online, or reportedly leaked online. There's a leak, there's a map. We don't know if it is exactly Red Dead Redemption 2, although it's believed to be Red Dead Redemption 2. Apparently, it's a very similar map. The Great Plains has Blackwater City. That was in the original. But also features like a new area down near the south called Bordeaux, which is leading a lot of people believing that there's going to be a crossover with Mafia 3. Yeah, you know, if people are wondering, well, how the hell does that work? Because Mafia 3 isn't Rockstar. I believe Rockstar was doing Mafia 3. I don't know the developer behind Mafia 3, but Take-Two is both published, you know, they're publishers. But yeah, I mean, I find that interesting, you know, I mean, mostly because Bordeaux is the setting of Mafia 3. I'm not going to say this is going to be, if this is true, this isn't going to be a direct crossover, because Mafia 3, I believe, is post-Vietnam, and also, according to this leak, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel? So it's not a direct crossover, it's where they're in the same city. You see, this is weird to me. When this is the weirdest part of the story to me, that it's going to be a prequel. I'm like, because I thought Red Dead Redemption was already technically a sequel, because I thought it was a sequel to Red Dead Revolver, because I believe it was still John Marston. Now I never played Red Dead Revolver. I remember what I read. I mean, I might have read it incorrectly. It might have been false. I don't know, but I thought Red Dead Redemption was already a sequel, but maybe it's in between Revolver and Redemption. So who the hell knows? I just hate a numbered sequel when it's a prequel. That's weird, because it's like you're going, I don't know. It's weird to me. That article was by he's one of my favorite guys at IGN. I love this name, Michael Pasalacqua. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. That is such a cool name. Leslie Benzies, Benzies. If somebody tell me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. The former head of Rockstar North. If you know Rockstar North, they're probably two biggest, you know, accomplishments of the Grand Theft Auto series and Manhunt. He is apparently suing Rockstar, Take-Two Interactive, and the Houser brothers for a total of $150 million. That is a lot. And according to this article, it's for withholding royalties. Apparently, I was also reading in the article, there was something about, you know, the fact that, like, he once went to Rockstar North's headquarters, I believe, I can't remember where it is exactly, but, you know, walks up to their building, you know, tries to enter the building with, like, all of his, you know, his, like, key cards, everything, won't let him in. Apparently he'd been fired without knowing, and his office was, like, packed up. It was a messy situation. That's really interesting. That article by Matt Porter at IGN, and again, I mean, you're hearing the name Take-Two Interactive. For those of you who don't know, Rockstar is I don't want to say a subsidiary, but it is the development arm of Take-Two Interactive. So there's a little industry stuff if you didn't know. Here's an interesting one. A new mod has surfaced for XCOM 2. Yeah, I mean, I know. Well, what's interesting about that? You know, there's like 30 of those a day. Well, this mod apparently adds something that's being called Squad Cohesion. If you're wondering what the hell that is, it's very similar to Fire Emblem's relationship kind of system, you know. And I know this isn't a dating. This doesn't make XCOM 2 a dating sim, like, you know, that's not what it is. But basically, it's as you send your soldiers out on missions, you know, they become tighter as a unit. They become friends, like, on the base, and, you know, and that that kind of gives you like skill boosts in. Let's see here, aiming, critical hits, hacking, and will. If you don't know what will is, it's if you're like, well, what the hell does that exactly mean? Will is your susceptibility to certain, in the game, it's like psionic, it's like psychic attacks, you know, your mind control and whatnot. Let's see here. Apparently, you know, it's like these relationships can crumble, and I believe if two people who don't like each other are in the same squad, they don't perform as well. Something like that. I believe that's a similar idea. And this is a really interesting one. If a soldier dies in the field, you know, like your soldier who's like already like a close friend of the deceased, he will get the shaken status. If you know, shaken is a status that decreases your will, and you know, again, makes you more susceptible. Like, the only way I believe to get rid of shaken is to make it through a mission without any injuries. It's tough if you're me. Oh God, people. I have to open my windows because my air conditioning's broken and Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the motorcycle like right outside my freaking window. That or it's some douchebag in a truck. Either way, so your soldier enters this shaken status, and apparently the higher the the relationship, the more likely this is to happen. I got this from Elise Favis at Game Informer. A really interesting article. That's a very interesting mod to a game like XCOM. Very with the tactical turn-based style of game. That's a very interesting kind of new mechanic that I would never think of if I was designing one of these. I mean, like, that's really interesting. Sorry, now we're into one of my favorite parts, where I talk about release dates, all that. Mostly because this section just flies by really quick. According to Suda51, developer, doing Let It Die, they are planning release for 2016. If you're like me and question what the hell is Let It Die, apparently I think when I was reading this article, I think I remember seeing this. It was at the 2014 E3. It was I believe, as the article describes it, a free-to-play action game for the PS4. Allegra Frank Polygon is the author of this article. And also, if you're going to be at PAX East, it will be playable on the show floor. So you gotta check that out. Dan Vader or Vader, I'm gonna go with Vader, but I could be wrong. Lead writer and designer for Capybara Games. I love saying that. Has posted to the PlayStation blog that Don't Starve Shipwrecked is coming to PS4 this spring. If you don't know what Shipwrecked is, again, this is one I've not really heard about. I remember, I think I've seen some stills and whatnot. It has like this really kind of interesting hand-drawn style. It's kind of like an exploration-based survival game. Really interesting. All right. And this is something that companies do a lot, and it really pisses me off. And that, according to a teaser for Titanfall 2, Respawn Entertainment, the developer, will be making an announcement on June 12th. This, I think, sets up with EA's whole... because they're not... EA, I don't think, is going to be at E3. They're going to be doing their own separate events somewhere else in, I think, LA, somewhere. Yeah, it's a weird situation. But yeah, so they've made this announcement. They're going to make an announcement. They're announcing that they're going to make an announcement on June 12th. I sit here and go, really? This is similar to what Bethesda did with Fallout 4. I remember the teaser for Fallout 4 that I can't remember. I remember seeing that, and everybody's, I'm like looking at my friends going, what? This is fucking awesome. Holy, because that came out, but that came out mid-May. We all knew it was Fallout. I don't think it said Fallout, but it was Bethesda Games, and then it pops up, and then of course everybody's like, it's gonna be at E3. They're gonna show it, and what I was expecting when they made that announcement back at E3 was that it was like, oh yeah, here's it's coming out in like 2018. It's down the road, and then they do the best thing ever. Holy crap! It comes out. Todd Howard, he's just standing there. He's like, he's talking about Fallout 4, and it'll be available this fall, and everybody flipped out. That was a great moment. And then he announced Fallout Shelter on the phone, the Pip-Boy watch, like that. That was a great E3 announcement. This just seems, it bugs me when we're doing it this far out that you're announcing that you're making an announcement. It was like Final Fantasy 15 announced that they were making an announcement. I don't like it when companies do it. Just give me a release date. Don't tell me when you're going to give me the release date. It's a weird time loop. Article by Joe Screbbles at IGN. Severed is coming to PlayStation Vita on April 26th for $15. If you don't know, Severed is made by Drinkbox Studios. If you don't know Drinkbox Studios, they're the people who brought us Guacamelee. And if you haven't played Guacamelee, it's a really good game. Really interesting art style, kind of a side-scroller, beat-em-up kind of game. Really interesting. Really fun. That came from Evan Campbell at IGN. This September, PS4 and Xbox One owners can pick up NBA 2K17 Legend Edition for $80. I still don't understand why you'd spend more. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, buy it. I'm not judging you. I don't get it. Why you'd spend the extra like $20 for a sports game. I don't know. I don't get it. By M. Campbell at IGN. Danny Candle, art director at, and I love this developer name, A Crowd of Monsters. I'm serious. Capybara Games, Crowd of Monsters. I really like the people who are doing Gears of War 4, the Coalition. It just sounds like an evil dictatorship or something. It's really, I don't know. I really like these people who are making these names. But a crowd of this Danny Candle posted on the PlayStation blog that the first 2 episodes of a game called I can't speak. The first 2 episodes of a game called Blues and Bullets are coming to PS4 on April 19th. Really excited about this, especially because it's the 16th now, so I gotta go out and check into this, because I have not heard anything about this game, but I am super pumped up from this description that it's a black and white noir crime drama. So, I'm kind of expecting, okay, so it's kind of LA noir, but it's more, it's this black and white style, and so they're probably going old school, and like the main character had something to do with like the arrest of Capone, and it looks really interesting, but apparently will take place in the fictitious setting of American city Santa Esperanza, which is a weird if that's an American city name, but it's probably in the South. I don't know, and it's set in the 20s. That's really interesting. April 22nd, the Mirror's Edge closed beta starts. Unfortunately, if you haven't already signed up for it, signups are closed. But apparently, this will be containing both single player and multiplayer content. Thank you, Joe Screbbles at IGN. But this kind of raised an interesting thing. So we may be seeing some new content for Mirror's Edge Catalyst. But this little bit of news, this I found a little more interesting. Also by Joe Screbbles over at IGN. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, we were assuming was going to be an open world game. That's still kind of true, but it's not truly an open world game. It's and I think the article puts it best. You can go check it out. It's Joe Screbbles at that's Skrebles at IGN. It's really, and I love how the article puts this. He said, put it this way, it's closer to a Zelda overworld than Los Santos. Meaning it's closer to how Zelda was, you get skills and equipment that lets you traverse more areas. And so, it's not like it's immediately open to you. I believe it is set in an open area, but you can't go everywhere from the start. So, it's kind of Metroidvania-esque, to use that terminology. Which I think could really work with this game. Let's see here. And, I lost where I was. We have a couple new games coming over from Japan, over to America. King of Fighters 14, according to Nicole Carpenter at IGN. And this is a fun one. Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, which was originally final in Japan, is coming to US on the 3DS, according to Mike Footer over at Game Informer. This is an interesting one. If people are like Shin Megami Tensei, that sounds really familiar. It's a post-apocalyptic game. It's got a bunch of stuff with demons, and it's an odd game. I've played 1 or 2 of them. They've got some challenge. They're pretty fun. But another big series that Shin Megami Tensei, the name is attached to, is the Persona series, which the 5th game is presumably coming out this summer. Atlas, if you don't do it, you're gonna have a riot. I'm sorry, I'm gonna break this because I still remember last year at TGS when Atlas said, yeah, there's gonna be this big announcement for Persona 5, and everyone was like, are we finally gonna get to find out when this 2015 release date is? They're like, yeah, guess what? Next summer. Fuck you. Oh, I'm sorry, I love video games, but the companies piss me off sometimes. This is a really fun one. Also and I love this guy's, again, I love saying this name, Joe Screbbles at IGN. Apparently Bandai Namco has filed a trademark for, and this is probably one of the most fun game names to say, Amazing Katamari Damacy. If anybody remembers what that was, it was a PS2 game where basically you rolled around and you picked up objects on a ball and they made planets or something to put up in space. It was a really weird game. I never played it, but I've seen people play it and I'm just like, this is... Yeah, they loved it. I never got it, but but it's still really fun to say Katamari Damacy. I will say that. It just makes you smile. No, this is a really happy story if you ask me. So a couple months ago, back in March, I announced, I talked about a story where Sony dropped Codemasters. Not Codemasters. I'm sorry. They dropped the developer Evolution, the people behind Drive Club. Back in March, well, so they kind of released them. So, the studio was kind of adrift. They kind of wanted to keep everyone together. The team, maybe function independently. Well, actually, and this is why I said Codemasters, the people who did like Dirt Rally and whatnot, actually scooped up the company. So, they're kind of bringing Evolution into Codemasters. I'm assuming to help them make more racing games and whatnot. And I think I got that from Chris Kerr over at Gamasutra, and I feel really good for those guys. It's a sad thing in the industry that I think a lot of people don't realize. It's like when you work on a team, and a lot of times I said developers who were brought on for projects, a lot of times once they finish the project, they get laid off and they're on their own. So they just kind of get the boot, and then they're kind of they got to find a new project to go work on. So you don't usually always work with the same teams, and the life of developers is a very difficult one. So I'm really glad that Evolution really wanted to kind of stay together, and that they got scooped up by Codemasters, a company. No offense to Sony, I'm sure they appreciated them. Drive Club, I believe, made a good amount of money. But I'm sure Codemasters, being they do a lot of racing games, I'm sure I think they're more suited with Evolution. I think that's a really good fit. So good for them. I'm so glad for this. We finally got the... Well, okay, let me rephrase this. We now have the box art for The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine DLC. If, this is the second DLC after Heart of Stone. This new one, it's more political. It's more, it's an interesting world. I believe it opens up an entire new land, but maybe that was I still haven't broken into Heart of Stone yet. I have the physical box. I still haven't even taken the plastic off that thing yet. I have not. I need a free time in my schedule to go do it. Maybe sometime this summer. But apparently we have, along with releasing the box art, they have announced that there will be a physical edition, same with Heart of Stone. And this physical edition will be pretty much the same thing, where it will feature a download code and 2 Gwent decks. I'm hoping that it's because I think the decks that Heart of Stone came with were the Monster and Scoia'tael deck, which I'm kind of hoping that the Nilfgaard and I think Northern Realms, I think, is what the other one. I hope that this one is the other two, so you can get a deck of all 4. But yeah, and reportedly this DLC is coming June 7th. We don't know exactly because CD Projekt Red, while yes announcing the box art and that this physical edition is happening and all this, we haven't gotten the exact details on a release date. I got this from Matt Porter at IGN. All right. I'm going to pause in the middle of this story, while I'm talking about it, because I'm sure people are going to want to, take their second to out about this. 2 new heroes are being added to Star Wars Battlefront. This, by the way, this article is by Nicole Carpenter at IGN. And these 2 new heroes, 2 very popular... Well, one I really know. The other one, I'm not super big into the Star Wars lore. I love Star Wars. I'm not big into the lore. So, huge Star Wars fans who are loving Battlefront will probably love this. And I'll give you guys, a quick second to go. We're getting Lando Calrissian and the bounty hunter Dengar. I'll let you have your moment. Okay, moment's over. Now we're going to get into a story that I really want. This one, I've been waiting this last 30 minutes to talk about this one. This is really fun. apparently female characters have been added to Rust. You know, if you don't know what Rust is, it's a big open world kind of an exploration crafting based like an MMO like game. But you know, but previously you could only have male characters. Now it's, you know, male and female. Well, this is interesting though, because you don't get to choose which one you get. And no, it's technically randomized. Not really. Because apparently the game assigns you your gender, race, and this is my personal favorite, the article lists it as private part size. I'm a child. Let me have my fun. I got to say private parts on this. It's life. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely hilarious. The article, you know, it's you can't pick the size of your privates, your gender, or your race, and what it assigns you as, because it assigns you this stuff based on your Steam ID account, which or your Steam ID, not account, your Steam ID, which I'm like, I believe in the you know, it's like male, you know, you choose male, female, and that I don't remember choosing race. Or I'm also trying to figure out, how does my Steam ID know the size of my privates? That's some NSA invasion right there. Needless to say, people aren't happy. Article by Matt Porter at IGN. I mean, really? They did what the? Like this was so easily avoidable by just letting you choose that stuff. But you decide to actually assign these things based on your Steam ID. And again, I don't know. I mean, I think it's weird, but I don't necessarily care. A lot of people, it's sexist. It's whatever. Whatever. But the thing I find the most funny about this is the fact that how did they not see this coming? I'm like, you announced. I'm like, as soon as I read that, I'm like, oh, this is going to piss people off. And then I was reading a couple other articles later, you know, like a couple days later, and I'm like, yep, people are pissed off. I'm like, how did you not see it? Why? Why do it? It was just like, I mean, this isn't like that small slip that Hajime Tabata had a few months ago when he announced that Final Fantasy XV's main cast will be male, and then everyone flipped out, oh, it's sexist, and I still stand by it. Well, Final Fantasy X2 was an all-female, was, you know, like a female lead cast. You know, that doesn't matter. And granted, I mean, it's technically wasn't as a high-profile game as 15, but still, narratively, that made sense, and he went on to explain. Sorry, it's pop up on my screen. Again, narratively, it made sense to do it that way, and you know, with the story that they're telling and all this, you know, I mean, it makes sense. But I mean, he got destroyed by people for that one. I mean, he took so many attacks on that issue, and it's just like Koei Tecmo, Koei Tecmo announcing that they aren't going to bring DOA Extreme Beach Volleyball or wait, Extreme however those. I don't know. However, the order of that title, that game's not coming over to America because of, as they put it, women's issues in the industry. If you want my opinions on that, I still stand by it. If you want to do something for the women in the industry, do something for the women in the industry. Don't just say it's a video game, which I think you are afraid of pressure from activist groups mixed with. You just didn't think it would sell. If you didn't think it would sell, just I'm off topic. I'm sorry, but you know, I mean, like these things, they announce them and then people flip out, which I think they weren't necessarily expecting. I mean, like this though, how did the people who made? I don't necessarily know who did Rust, but I'm just like, how did you not see this coming? Holy shit! I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at how your private parts, the size of your private parts, is going to be determined by your Steam ID. That is the most mind-boggling thing in this entire story. Oh my god. Back on some serious stuff, though. Ubisoft has tweeted out that their E3 press conference slot, I'm really glad, it's a midday, so I'm not going to be tired when I watch it. It goes on at 1 p.m. Pacific time after a 12:30 pre-show. And actually, stay tuned into the channel around E3 time. I'm going to be doing post wrap-ups of all the E3, all the press conferences, and a lot of coverage from that time. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'll be at home in Indiana, unfortunately. Moving on, article by Allegra Frank at Polygon. Into the final two stories, both about Remedy Entertainment's Quantum Break. The first one, both by Joe Screbbles of IGN. Remedy has promised fixes for Quantum Break. There's a few technical issues. And according to the article, the fixes are removing frame rate stutters, addressing performance problems, removing frame rate locking, adding the missing quit option on the main menu, which I didn't even know was an issue, the addition of image quality options on PC, and removal of light flare and blinking lights. There are certain things that aren't going to be fixed or that were considered unfixable. And the article actually brings up a big issue that I had when I was playing it. You can go check out my Let's Play. I said it a few times. Is that it had like this film grain effect on the screen. It was really distracting to me. It really bugged me. And I don't know why. Maybe it's my OCD. Maybe it's whatever. I'm just like, what? But again, I don't know. I mean, that was an Xbox One problem. I mean, there's a few issues for the PC that again they consider unfixable. So I don't know. I still give Remedy the benefit of the doubt. And I agree with most of the reviews. I agree with an 8 on that game. It was really good, really solid at the end. It really picked up the steam. It started too slow. I had some issues with the shooting, but still, all in all, it was a really good game. But the final one, also by Joe Screbbles, and this is really short, and I'm super glad that Remedy was able to achieve this. That Quantum Break is the biggest selling new IP this generation. I'm not sure if that's Microsoft. I believe it's a Microsoft selling new IP. I don't think it's a PlayStation, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is overall. But I mean, it's bringing out stuff like Sunset Overdrive, which, if you ask me, Sunset Overdrive was probably one of the best Xbox One exclusives. That was a great game. Again, fantastic job Insomniac on that one. But that's all I got for you guys this week. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said earlier, by tonight I should have the list of events, all time slotted, all that down below. Keep tuning in for the variety of other stuff I do on this channel. I do Let's Plays. You can find them all over in the playlists. I do reviews over. Sorry, voice crack there. I do reviews on my website. Follow me on Twitter. Find me on Facebook. All that down in the description. Feel free to leave me a comment. You want to chat with me? You want to tell me a story I missed? Hell, you want to give me some sort of critique on the channel? Please, constructive though. I hate those, and again, I go off on this a lot. I hate those people who go on YouTube channels and then they just post, this sucks, you suck, blah, blah, they're just sitting complaining, and they're just like, if you don't like me, don't get me wrong, you don't like me, fine, I don't care. Don't watch. I mean, if you want to help me improve so that maybe you start liking it more, I have no problem with hearing that. But if you just want to play, this sucks, you suck, I hate you, just leave. You don't have to watch me. Why? These people, it's like, why are you doing this if you don't like it? Just watch other YouTubers. There's hundreds of us. Like, what the? Either way, like I said, you go ahead, leave me a comment. Always happy to hear from y'all. You guys are really fun to talk to in the comments. Other than that, if you enjoy the video, you enjoy any video on this channel, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date, everything that I'm doing here. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for the patience for the late episode. Once again, I apologize for that. It's give me another couple weeks, guys. I'm almost at finals. Thank God. But seriously though, guys, thanks so much for watching. You guys are the best. I am AJ Gills. This is the 11th Hour Gaming Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm out.